The latest 5-star Tera Raids in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet feature the Fairy-type Sylveon and the pseudo-legendary Garchomp. We're going to be discussing the best ways to get through these raids for everyone, if you play Scarlet, Violet, or even if you haven't made your way to Area 0 yet. First up is Sylveon. Half the time, Sylveon's Tera type will be Fairy, so that's what we'll focus on. As a special attacking Fairy type, Sylveon gets access to both Moonblast and Draining Kiss, along with other great coverage moves like Shadow Ball and Psychic. There are a few options to deal with this. First up is Iron Hands, a Pokemon you've definitely seen if you've done a Tera Raid online before. You can catch him in Area 0 in Pokemon Violet, and in Pokemon Scarlet you can trade a Brute Bonnet with the link code 0378-0384 to receive it. Iron Hands has an insane attack stat of 140 and a HP stat of 154. Being part fighting type does give it major weaknesses to Sylveon's attacks though. Despite this, a level 100 Iron Hands will work just fine if you run Belly Drum, Play Rough, Terra Blast, and Heavy Slam with the Steel Terra type while holding a Shell Bell. Belly Drum raises your attack stat by 6 stages at the cost of half your HP, and Heavy Slam will do massive damage to Sylveon. Play Rough and Terra Blast, however, can be swapped out for any other attacking move since they're just standard attacks. With the Shell Bell, you recover an 1/8 of the damage you deal, which doesn't sound like too much, but when you're doing as much damage as Iron Hands is, it'll usually bring you up to full HP. The next alternative is Azumarill. Although it has a very sad attack stat of only 50, Azumarill is blessed with the ability Huge Power, effectively doubling its base attack stat. Azumarill is also a user of Belly Drum. Once again, holding the Shell Bell with the Water Terra type, Azumarill can dish out good damage with Play Rough and Aqua Tail. And there's always the option of Rain Dance too, so you can further boost your damage output. You can also swap Aqua Tail for Liquidation. You lose a small bit of damage in exchange for better accuracy. If you're playing online or locally with friends, Grimmsnarl is a great choice for a support Pokemon, while Iron Hands and Azumarill output all of the damage. With its ability Prankster, Grimmsnarl gets an extra level of priority on its non-damaging moves. So while you still have to look out for super effective attacks coming from Sylveon, you can throw up a light screen to mitigate some of the damage before it even has a chance to move. I'd also advise giving your Grimmsnarl the Light Clay item to boost the duration of a light screen. If the Sylveon is using status moves like Calm Mind or Fake Tears, Grimmsnarl can also shut that down with Taunt. You can also get access to stat lowering moves like Confide or Scary Face, and for damage you have the options of Play Rough or Spirit Break. But you can also have some fun with Metronome if you feel like it. With Sylveon successfully pummeled into the ground, the next fight is against a Garchomp. Oh, also, if you're finding this video helpful, you could consider subscribing. I post videos about Pokemon news and leaks, so chances are you'll probably like it. As an incredibly strong Dragon and Ground type, Garchomp will likely use physical attacks like Earthquake and Dragon Claw. It also has access to a lot of coverage with Shadow Claw, Iron Head, Rock Slide, and Aerial Ace. Being part Ground type and having the Ground Terra type half of the time, Garchomp can yet again effectively threaten Iron Hands, which has the Electric typing. If you run the Terra type of Fairy, however, things can get a bit more interesting as long as you can hold out long enough to Terastallize to become immune to its Dragon type attacks. Running a similar set as last time, Iron Hands can use Belly Drum, Play Rough, and Terra Blast once again, but this time we're swapping out Heavy Slam for Drain Punch. While not super effective, it provides an incredible amount of healing as it restores half of the damage you deal in HP. This allows Iron Hands to replace the Shell Bell with a Booster Energy, boosting its attack even further. If you want super effective damage, Iron Hands can also run Ice Punch instead of Play Rough, but trust me, you won't need the extra damage. Azumarill has a much easier time here. Being a Water and Fairy type, Azumarill is immediately immune to Garchomp's Dragon type attacks and resists its Ground type attacks. The setup is exactly the same as before. You can choose to either keep Terastallizing into the Water type for extra damage, or the Fairy type to keep the immunity to Dragon type attacks. Holding the Shell Bell to regain health, Azumarill runs Belly Drum, Play Rough, Aqua Tail or Liquidation, and Rain Dance. Azumarill gets a very obvious advantage over Iron Hands here, allowing for some strong super effective attacks and resistances to most of Garchomp's attacks. Once again, you could be playing multiplayer, and Grimmsnarl still works really well here. Its Fairy typing makes it immune to the Dragon type attacks, and you can threaten Garchomp with Grimmsnarl's Prankster Reflect. Garchomp's attack stat can get even scarier if it runs Swords Dance, but once again, Grimmsnarl can shut that down with Taunt. The last moves are up to you. You could run Scary Face, Confide, Play Rough, Spirit Break, or once again Metronome. The trio of Iron Hands, Azumarill, and Grimmsnarl can work really well for pretty much any Tera Raid. If you have any more suggestions, let me know in the comments. I know Fluttermane can be good, alongside Klefki and Slowbro being quite popular thanks to stored power.